The issue of indecent images of children, 2 or 3 points. I understand there's only one place in the Met where the viewing of this goes on at the Empress Building.
Yeah.
Following on the points you've just been making to Caroline, my understanding is that getting help for staff is primarily on the basis of self-referral rather than anything else. And the third point I wanted to raise are the delays in actually processing this material to a stage where you can either prosecute or not. And apparently it's months and months and months through the forensic side of it. So perhaps you'd like to comment on those three points.
So if I can remember the three. Right, yes, at the moment it is one place. And we are looking at whether you do more. There are advantages to one place in terms of the way that you can control that environment and do the things you need to do. But we are looking at whether, and again, as I say, this paper that's going to come through will make suggestions about that. The second point was around
referral of staff.
As I've just said in answer to the previous question, there is a supervisory responsibility around this. But this issue of helping people is one that is really very prominent for us at the moment, not only in relation to this issue, but also in relation to the events of last year and some of the things that people did and saw there. And certainly one of my reflections is how you want to be helped and how you need to be helped are very personal and individual things. People that are doing the same job or were at the same event, one person, and we spend a lot of time talking to officers who've been involved in all of this. Some people will say, well, stop offering me this, I don't want this to be, and others will say, why am I having to go? And this will be, so it's a very much individual thing that we've got to manage in the way that we supervise people. We have a very clear occupational health process and department, and as I say, for those people in those teams, it is a mandatory requirement anyway to be going through the regular, depending on the length.
I think the fire service are actually doing this rather better in terms of when people are exposed to particularly horrific things. They maybe like to look at how they approach supporting their staff. And don't just mean big events like Grenfell, where it's a major operation, but more generally. And I think compared to what you've just said, compared to what they're doing, I think it might be something you could learn from.
We can certainly look at that. I mean, I know in our occupational health work, we work with a whole range of other organisations where you have people in similar, so the military, the other emergency services, all of those services are facing the same challenge of how you deal with people who are facing traumatic issues.
Well, I'll say the fire service.
Yeah, well, we can certainly have a look.
They did have a step change 30 years ago after the King's Cross fire, and it's been much more proactive in relation to it. And the third point was the length of delays in terms of examining the material forensically, so you can actually bring a prosecution. And apparently the delays, I've been told, are months and months and months.
There are significant delays. So partly that is as a result of, as I say, the exponential growth in the number of things that are being referred to us. So if I just take an example from the referrals that we will get from the National Crime Agency, from the child exploitation element within the National Crime Agency. In 2016 we had 1,000, I beg your pardon, in 2016 it was 400 referrals, in 2017 it was 1,000 referrals, and the anticipation this year it will be 2,500 referrals. So these are growing enormously, and there is a funnel point with the technology, with actually being able to do the downloading. So there is a delay at the moment. Obviously, we will triage the things that are coming in to try and best understand. But again, one of the challenges that you face is often the number of devices, particularly when we start the investigations, the number of devices that you then are having to deal with is significant, as it is with all our investigation, and that links you into the sort of disclosure issue. So there is a delay. As I say, there is a paper coming forward to the board about how we seek to deal with that, but we are, you are down to making prioritisation decisions around resourcing.
Am I right in saying the delays are months and months and months?
Yeah, they can be. In some cases, there will be. Yeah, it's significant. I'm not, and I don't seek to underplay it, but I think we have just got to start from the position of just the sheer level to which this is growing year on year, and there is only, there is a funnel point when it comes in, and when we have to then do all the various downloading and assessing.
How long do you think it will be before you can get on top of this? And
as I say, I don't know the detail of that paper, so I'm not going to kind of pretend that there's what I know is coming. So we need to get that paper. We need to assess that at the board, and then we need to clearly see, because as with all things, to speed things up, you are talking about now more technology is easier to do, more people is less easy to do, and we will have to balance those priorities. But it is something, again, it's not something purely for the Met, it's something for the service wide and for the NCA for that matter, which has just grown and grown and grown at a rate that I don't think anyone could be expected to keep up with, but we need to find a way of how we go through this. And certainly, I think at a national level, you know, the national lead around child abuse, Chief Constable Simon Bailey, you know, has been out and is having lots of talking about how we find a way collectively as a system to deal with what is something that quite clearly on demand alone you're never going to be able to deal with in a simple way.
Well, perhaps you could update us in writing when you've got a...
Sorry, I beg your pardon?
Perhaps you can update us in writing
yes,
when
of course,
you,
yeah,
when
of course we will, yeah.
When you get back to the shop.
Yes.